Welcome back, everybody, to Acadia on Air. We got a great episode for you today. We got with us Rob from FireEpoxy.
Yes, sir.
Nice to see you, Rob.
Nice to see you
Nice
guys.
having
Thanks
you.
for having me.
Perfect. So I'll tell you, Rob. I do a lot of epoxy in restaurants, and epoxy it's a world on its own, and there's a lot to talk about. And I thought having you on the podcast would be great. Mainly because I find that a lot think that epoxy is something that can be DIY'd. And I pretty much think it's a very professional and important job and trade. And it's getting bigger and bigger now, not only flooring anymore. So yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself, about what you're doing, and we'll go from there.
Perfect. My name's Rob Soehner. I've been in the business. I've had the business for 4 years. Did my first floor in 2020. Saw a growing need for, like you say, the epoxy industry is growing, but whether it be residential, commercial, agricultural, and it's more than just floors now too. So jumped in head first, and yeah, it's a great business, and been learning the whole time, still learning and mastering my craft.
So we talked a little bit off camera. I really love your name, FireEpoxy.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about it, because I think the name has a lot of meaning and value to it. Tell me a little bit about it.
Rob, can you pull the mic a little bit
Yes,
closer?
of course.
Yeah, there you go.
So the reason that we went the name FireEpoxy, I am a full-time firefighter, so that's my full-time job. I also do epoxy full-time as well. Lucky to have a great team behind us and help us out and get work done. And the kids are saying these days, that's fire. It's a good thing. So kind of a play on words that way as well. But yeah, it comes from my full-time profession. Something I take great pride in is being a firefighter, serving communities. And like at that job, we serve people. We aim to serve people at the same level when we're doing their floors as well with the same care.
Amazing, amazing. So let's jump into it. Tell me a little bit about the industry. The new trends that are coming in right now versus where it was previously, and where do you think it's going in the future?
So yeah, I would say some trends would be metallics, which are like the marble style looking floors, getting very big. People are doing penthouses now, where traditionally epoxy was something that you would see in somebody's garage or in the back of a restaurant or a warehouse, something like that. I see it's happening more with things like countertops.
I wanted to get into it.
People are doing walls, doing foam walls that they coat ahead of time, and then you can put them in shower walls, things like that.
Oh.
It mimics the look of marble for a fraction of the cost. Extremely durable. It doesn't break. It's very impact and abrasion resistant, unlike marble. We can do a floor. You hit it with a hammer, drop something on it, it's gonna be fine. You do that to marble, that costs 5-10 times more.
Yep.
It's cracked. You're gonna have to replace it, right? Yeah. I see a lot of pharmaceutical places, things like that, going towards epoxy. It has a lot of great capabilities, as in, it doesn't promote mold growth, bacterial, things like that. You're hermetically sealing the floor, so it has a lot of benefits that way. Concrete's always breathing moisture, so you're able to seal it like that. No moisture coming up. By mitigating moisture using vapor barrier base coats, you're able to seal out anything that's coming out of the slab, and you're also stopping stains or things like that from spilling onto the slab.
So I find that what people like to do more, I find that a lot of people use epoxy in condominiums because it's much better than just exposed concrete, and it's different than exposed concrete. Yet again, it's very cool. Which applications do you use epoxy the most? Because I still don't see full houses, residential houses being done with epoxy, although I've done epoxy on wooden floors previously, and it worked. So tell me a little bit about that. Where do you do epoxy the most? In which applications?
I would say the most popular applications would be residential, commercial, storefronts, anything with high foot traffic, forklift traffic, things like that, where you need to have a floor that's going to stand up to the abuse. Kids, exactly, things like that. A flake system is a great residential option. It's a very thick 3-layer system, at least 3 layers, and it's stopping the concrete from constantly producing dust, which, as we know, concrete's always wearing away and causing dust. It's also getting very big in the agricultural industry. So we do a lot of farms, we do a lot of dairy barns. So we're using epoxy or polyurethane cement in the feed alley. So that's where the cows actually eat off of.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the benefit
wow.
there is being that it's sealing the concrete on a summer day, the cows won't eat as much because the moisture of the food, and they stop eating. So when their when their food intake goes down, milk production goes down.
Oh, wow.
So it's more than just keeping it looking good and easy to clean. Now you also have another reason for it, where the cow will actually continue to eat more. The inspectors also love it in the dairy industry, in the milk houses, milk rooms, clean rooms, things like that. Areas where workers are washing off their boots.
Yeah.
It's very it's a very healthy coating for those types of places. Doesn't promote any type of bacterial growth, and it's very resistant to chemicals that are used commonly when it comes to cleaning, bleaches and iodines and things like that. So it's kind of the best of both worlds, and it also looks great as well.
Yeah, so we used a couple of, when it comes to food industry, we used epoxy on a couple of projects where we've done, I don't know if you know the company. Anyways, there's a solid company. I'm actually not going to plug their name in. But all the dressing rooms and all the equipment area, before we actually installed everything, we used epoxy. Yeah, it's awesome.
So anything where you need to like clean continuously, that seems like a great idea. That's probably why garages, it's so popular, right? Because it gets dirty all the time. So you gotta like easier to clean off.
Yeah, actually.
Maintain, clean look, it does check a lot of boxes, and the durability,
And it looks so cool now. Some epoxy, it looks
it's
unreal.
very cool. And your average, residential garage floor, that's a 20+ year floor.
Yeah,
It's
resinous
not just
flooring,
like
right?
painting it where you're not prepping it. We do the prep, we go into the grinding, which is the most important step. It's like painting a wall. You can use the best paint on a wall. If you don't do your prep work, everything's going to show through. It's going to flake. It's not going to last.
Yeah.
So when you're doing your proper grind, getting the concrete to the surface profile that it needs for that material, it's ensuring a long-lasting bond that's going to last for years and years.
So what would you suggest for residential purposes for garages? I know resinous flooring is being done a lot. Is there any other product that you usually use for garages, or what do people like more? What's cool right now?
So depending on the needs of the garage and the client's budget, of course, we kind of have two different ways that we can send them, or three, I guess. So you can either do a stout, which is a solid color gray. We call it a neat coating. Usually it's a 2-layer or 3-layer system. You can either do epoxy or polyaspartic, and then you can do a top coat with a urethane or something like that to give it some additional wear resistance. Depending on the moisture in the slab, we would use a vapor barrier. So we have a tool called the Tramex. It measures the moisture content in the slab. So anything that's over 5 or 5.5%, you're going to want to go to a vapor barrier epoxy. So this is a bit of a slower cure, so usually into a 2-day job. If moisture is not an issue, we'll use polyaspartic systems. The industry is going that way. It allows us to get in and out in one single day, prep to finish 3-layer system, a very fast drying product. The only issue with the polyaspartic is that it doesn't mitigate against vapor coming out of the slab as much. So any moisture that's in there, that's its downfall. That's where epoxy has its strength, and polyaspartic is the top coat of choice. Even with the epoxy base coat, it's 100% UV stable. Traditional epoxy is not. Even if it's a UV stable epoxy, if it's white in 5 years, it will amber over time.
It will go creamy and
Exactly.
it,
And it does
will
weaken
look
it.
yellow.
And the salt is also
Even when not
affecting it,
exposed to the sun?
It's if there's no direct UV, it will last longer. But if
But
there
still,
is,
eventually,
I
there's
see.
light, there's light. And especially in the garage, it's clearly exposed.
Because in my head, I'm comparing this to car paint. And car paint, kind of same principle. If it's exposed to the sun, then you run into the issues.
Yeah.
And it seems kind of like the process is also kind of similar, multiple layers.
Similar.
The top layer is going to be like clear coat kind of situation.
Similar, yep.
Yeah.
And epoxy will have a 2-page list of chemicals that it can resist against, where urethanes or polyaspartics, that's a 4 or 5-page list of chemicals. So it is that much more chemical resistant, 100% salt stable, which traditional epoxy is not as well. So they each have their benefits.
So question for you. Funny enough, I think it was 3-4 years ago, I had a contractor. We did a storefront unit, and he's like, I can do epoxy myself. He did the epoxy. Pretty much 3-4 days later, we started getting huge bubbles.
Yeah.
Those huge bubbles cost me probably $15,000-$16,000 to repair. Okay?
Yep.
So
Believe it.
to those at home who think they can do things themselves, Going back to the vapor barrier we're talking about,
Yeah.
does those two situations have to do one with the other? So why situations like that happen when the epoxy starts kind of bubbling,
Yep.
right? You got air bubbles inside, and does it have to do something with the moisture level under it?
100% it does. The enemy of any coating is moisture. So that's why as an installer and a reputable business owner, it's our responsibility to educate clients on this, to spend the money, $1,000 or $1,200 on this tool that we use to do our testing before any application, especially when you're dealing with a slab on grade. As we know, concrete is always breathing. So it is one of the most important steps of the job starts before the first grinder hits the floor or before the first squeegee or anything hits the floor. That's testing the moisture to make sure that we're using the right product in the right application at the right time with the right process.
Which makes me kind of understand the difference between, an epoxy contractor and a good epoxy contractor. Having a tool that costs $1,200 and you measure the moisture and everything before actually going into work versus, we can do it. You just mix everything, you put it on the floor,
we're going back
you
to
get the money, you leave 3 days later, you got humps on your...
I thought we're going back to the Milwaukee conversation.
No, it's not the Milwaukee conversation, but...
And then those are the guys giving the taillight warranty, right? Whereas, doesn't matter if you hire us, whoever you hire, just make sure the company you hire is going to stand behind the work they do.
Yeah.
And, when you do it right, you don't need to worry about warrantying things. But when you're cutting corners or trying to save money on having the right tools in your toolbox, those are issues that are going to arise.
And how long is your warranty stands for, by the way?
For residential, we're 5-year. Most commercial jobs, we do 1-year warranty, just because commercial applications are a lot harder on floors. But we're also open to discussing and, custom tailoring warranties depending on what a client's need is. Sometimes we might sell them an extra layer or something to mitigate any issues that we could see arising.
But honestly, I think 5 years is more like especially with epoxy, I believe either things are happening right away or they don't. Mm-hmm. If because it's a chemical reaction, right?
Correct.
If nothing happened while the work is done or by the way, how long epoxy cures for?
So most epoxy is 12 to 24 hours at ambient temperature, so around like 21 degrees.
Okay, so theoretically, which means if it's cured, it's done. That's it. It's good. It's good to go.
It should be, but the thing is, say there wasn't a vapor barrier and there is a moisture issue in the slab, it could be a couple months down the road where that moisture starts coming through. We call that hydrostatic pressure. That pressure is moisture coming and it starts to lift the coating. So it could happen over time. It's not always going to happen right away. Most of the problems will arise in the first week. However, it can happen down the road. And again, it just goes back to doing your proper prep, using the right material and the right application, right temperature, right humidity. I could get real nerdy with it, but there's a bunch of different on the technical data sheet. There's a bunch of different specifications that these products require, and it's our job again as installers to make sure that we're using the right application and doing our research and reading these technical data sheets. They're not just there for nothing. They're there for us to read and study and master and make sure that we're doing it right.
Yeah. So I find there is tons of different. You kind of got into it a little bit, and I wanted to have a specifically a segment for that. There are tons of different materials, tons of different applications for epoxy nowadays. People are going crazy with it when it comes to countertops. Love it. When you take a wooden countertop and all of a sudden you cover it with epoxy, it pretty much looks like marble, sometimes even better. And tell me a little bit about that, where people use, in which application people use epoxy. People should use epoxy more because it's still kind of controversial. If you're asking people about changing countertops, they will go towards quartz, granite, or like stone. What do you think about it? And how good is this epoxy for? Just let's expand a little bit on it.
So
countertops and stuff.
I would first go to pros and cons. So the pros of the epoxy is it's fully sealed, whereas marble or granite, a natural stone, again, it's porous, it's breathing. They need to be sealed still after every year, 2 years.
True.
To stop bacteria. And if you cut chicken on a epoxy countertop with a nano ceramic top coat, which is what we use, as soon as you wipe that up with whatever chemical bleach, your common kitchen cleaner, the bacteria is gone.
By the way, can you cut on it? Like it's not gonna leave marks, or
it is scratch and impact resistant, but I'm just talking about for the bacterial side of things.
Okay.
You know, the granite is going to suck up that bacteria. If you do a test, you know, one of those lab tests, you're going to find all kinds of bacteria, or salmonella, things like that. So
And eventually it's my smell as well, right?
exactly. So that's one pro. Another big pro with epoxy is that it's very heat resistant. So I believe it's 650 degrees that it can withstand heat. And you wouldn't you wouldn't put a hot pot on a laminate countertop.
Yeah.
So I mean, you shouldn't be doing that on epoxy anyways. However, it can withstand it. It can leave a mark after if it's very hot. You know, I'm not gonna.
Well, I would still suggest people not to do that.
Exactly. Another pro is it's 100% customizable. So we use a low viscosity epoxy, which is very low viscosity like water. And you know, the way it flows is all about the slab itself and how we manipulate it. You can't get the exact same floor twice, no matter what, when you're doing a countertop or the marble look. It's not possible. You can use the same technique as the last job, the same materials and the same quantity, same guy doing it. It will never be the exact same. So that's another cool benefit to it.
Makes it unique. Like this is pretty.
It does, yeah. And again, it's a fraction of the cost. So usually when it comes to the countertops, we're usually doing a flat rate price unless there's a lot of square footage to do. But it usually ends up being about half the cost of a high-end marble or a quartz.
So to me, the one thing that I was always afraid of when it comes to epoxy, that you got to be a little bit artistic. You got to know their patterns, how to do it, if you want it to look right. Everybody thinks that they can do it, but then you do epoxy, look at it, and you're like, that's not what I was expecting to get. How crazy, what was the craziest thing you've done with epoxy? Because I've seen logos that you can bury inside of the epoxy.
Yep.
What's the craziest thing you've done with epoxy that you can be proud of?
So my favorite floor to date, going again with your stickers or logo things, we've done a lot of logos in floors, sports teams, sayings. We did an outdoor pool. You know, we put under the top coat, "Welcome to the best bar in town," things like that. Really cool, right? But my favorite one was a basement that we did. It was an insurance job which had a flood. So another huge benefit of doing epoxy, if there's ever was a flood again with a vapor barrier, it's never going to lift. You can hold down 20% moisture content. We did a hockey rink in this floor. So we did the creases, we did the blue lines, we did the circles, everything in the floor.
And then ice goes on top of it?
We used an ice metallic pigment.
It's not really ice. It just looks like a hockey rink.
I see. Okay.
It was pretty cool.
Amateurs.
The base coat was a white vapor barrier base coat. And then over top of that, we did our ice metallic design, very thick, 25 square feet per gallon. And then once that dried, we went over top with our vinyl stickers. And then over top of that system, we went with a full clear epoxy flood. So that embeds and it gives it some depth to the floor as well. And then over top of that, we do a nano ceramic top coat. So it's similar to the top coats that you see on cars these days, where they're hydrophobic and they beat water. Very similar to the technology that is now in the epoxy industry.
Makes sense.
There's a lot of new products coming out all the time. There's 3 different main ones I can think of that are in this kind of family of products, and they're amazing products, and they glass out the floor as if it were ice.
I wonder, people that do that, you come in your house on a daily basis, you look in it. Eventually, you're not getting bored of that? Like, bored of it, getting like, eventually you would want to get some settled epoxy. Do you see people calling you back, let's say after 4 or 5 years, and being like, I love the epoxy, but let's do just something standard?
Yeah, people will change the design, or
that's
the thing with metallics. People will do a metallic garage, and then maybe they did it because they had a green Lambo.
Yeah.
And then now they bought a red Ferrari, so now the green doesn't match the new whip, right? So we go in, and instead of removing the whole floor at this point, we just get down to the epoxy level, and then we're able to go over that without starting the whole system. Because every floor that we install, we are installing a system. It's layer on top of layer, and they're made to bond with each other. Going into that too, there's a chemical bond window. So most are 12 to 24 hours. So we have a 24-hour window to get that next layer onto that other layer without having to give a mechanical bond, which is scratching the surface with sanding or with diamond segments. So every product, again, with the technical data sheet, has these different bond windows. But yeah, that'd be the main thing, is people just want to change it up. Maybe they want a more
elegant. Because they can. It's just like paint on a car.
Exactly.
Why not? Yeah. It's not as difficult anymore as traditional floors. You're not going to remove your hardwood every like couple of years and redo it.
Yeah.
But if you do epoxy, and assuming you got the budget, like it's cool. You got a Lamborghini, you want a logo of a Lamborghini under your car. How cool is that?
My garage is just concrete.
We'll talk.
No, I'm thinking if you have a nice car, right now you got a Lambo, you would want a logo of a Lambo under it, right?
Yeah.
And then you drive it out. You got something else. You got a Porsche. You want a Porsche.
I was thinking the hockey rink, it must have been an NHL player or something. Yeah.
It was just an aspiring NHL
You'll be
player. It's a
surprised.
Oh, and that's
young
like a
family.
prospect?
No, it's
Inspiring.
just a young family, and the kids loved hockey. It was
Oh,
like,
I see.
remember mini sticks in the basements? I
That's
remember
cool.
growing up playing mini sticks in the basement,
yeah.
and
But
it's pretty
so
cool.
when you dedicate the basement for your kids to play around and all that.
Yeah.
I didn't do that.
I think the plan was I didn't see it. We were done before the trim went in, but they were gonna do a yellow baseboard like the rink with the white walls.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
if they put some logos or anything on the wall,
That's
but
cool.
you can do whatever you want. It's fully customizable, and whatever you can dream, we can pretty much make it happen with a floor.
Amazing.
So you guys were talking about counters. So epoxy, like what is under it?
Under
If you
the
do a countertop, right? What is underneath the epoxy?
countertop itself, so we'll sand it first.
So is it still stone under?
Correct.
Yeah,
So
okay,
you can do it over
Either
laminate,
stone or
wood, like you mentioned earlier.
So the great thing, I'm going to cut you off right there because I think it's important for people to understand. It's not that you go on top of stone. It's just this is the alternative to the more expensive and different options.
Yeah, I see.
You take a regular laminate countertop, which you would throw to the garbage because it's done,
Yeah.
and you pretty much pour a new material on top of it that looks brand new, looks
I see.
like
Okay, that makes
granite stone. It's awesome. I don't know if you've seen those, but yeah, those are done.
You can take your kitchen that looks like 1985, but the laminate may still be in great condition. Someone took great care of it.
Yeah.
And now we come in within 3 days. You got 2026. It's modern.
That's really cool.
It's elegant. We can customize it. Right now, the most popular would be like a white or an off-white with some gray veins. That seems to be for countertops and that.
Everybody's doing that, yeah,
Simple, less is more, and that's kind of the trend right now.
And I think that would apply a lot. I don't know if mainly, but would apply a lot to people like me, for example, landlords. You're buying a property. Really, the idea is you don't want to be a slumlord to give somebody a disgusting kitchen, but you don't want to replace too much because that's an investment that you put
Painted
in.
over handles.
So no. Jokes aside, like what I would do, I would remove the doors, take them to a paint shop, to a professional paint shop, to paint it to make sure that it looks professional. I would bring an epoxy company to quickly take those laminate countertops and make them look as if they are, quartz or something, some nice finish. Clean the cabinets inside with a thin
you're
layer
right.
of salt,
That's a
and you
great
got a brand new kitchen.
Yeah, it's
you got a
great
brand
way
new
to do
kitchen.
it, yeah.
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 And it looks 100 times better. It can be the focal point of the kitchen too, rather than doing a fancy backsplash or something. You can have your countertops as the focal point.
So tell me a little bit about. You said that you can also do it on the walls. Tell me that I've never heard yet about. So tell me a little bit about that.
What people are doing now, it's mostly showers, things like that. You get the rigid foam, and
Like regular rigid 1 inch or 2 inch foam.
correct.
Okay.
So what we do is you have to lay it vertical. So everything has to be done either off-site or in the garage.
Vertical or horizontal?
Horizontal, sorry.
Okay.
Horizontal, sorry. If you do it vertical, it's obviously going to run.
Yeah,
It
it's
stays
gonna-
wet.
Yeah.
So you're going to do the design somewhere else, and you can match up your panels so that you have the same veins. So you kind of want to have everything pre-cut, have your ends,
Oh, you put them all together,
put
make
them all
one.
together.
Oh, that's
exactly in one pour. So when you put it into the shower, wherever you're going to put it, you have the exact same veins. So it does mimic marble.
So I'm going to ask you a difficult question. What's the pros of that versus, how they're selling now PVC panels that you can use in the showers?
Yep.
And all that. I'm trying to understand if, let's say, in my builds, if I were to use something like that, why would that be a better solution than those PVC panels?
I would have to say cost savings.
Really?
And you're getting the look of the marble. So you're getting a high-end look for a lot less than getting a piece of natural stone.
Does it look eventually more realistic than those PVC panels?
I
Because they're
believe
like,
so.
I would say they don't really look realistic, but for a budget, they're okay. So you're saying that would actually look more realistic, like a stone, like a marble or stone.
Yes, it depends on the artist too. Anyone can.
Let's say you are the artist.
If I'm the artist, I can get it looking 90% like marble. I don't think anything is going to be 100% the same as nature intended.
What's 100%? Can marble be 100% like another piece of marble?
No, but you can get it very close. It's getting the high end look for less and still achieving that blingy nice look that everybody wants, right?
Awesome. So what do you see the future of epoxy is, the industry and for your company? Where do you see yourself, let's say 5-6 years from now?
So for FireEpoxy, I see us franchising, helping other people out, possibly other first responders, grow, get into their own business. We're already very busy. It's hard to keep up. So I could see us maybe having different franchisees that help us out and continue to grow in the industry. The industry as a whole thing, I see it continually growing. Every year I see more people coming into the industry. More industries are adopting epoxy. So where people would have normally wanted a tile showroom, they're realizing that it's not holding up the same as a resinous floor would be. So more people are going to that way. Hospitals, institutions, quartz systems. That's what you see with the decorative sand. That's getting very, very popular. I think, how in the States you always see things a little bit earlier and then they kind of migrate their way to Canada.
Of course.
So you had mentioned earlier you haven't seen whole houses done in epoxy.
Yeah,
yet.
I haven't.
It really hasn't hit our area yet. But if you go to a place like Miami, all the big stars and things, they're doing full epoxy pours.
Oh wow!
And they're doing full penthouses, And I think that we will see that come this way into our higher end clientele. As they see it, they see it on Instagram, wherever they see it, and they're going to want it too. And I think we're going to go that way too.
Yes,
but also you see in Miami, well, first of all, forget Miami. In Europe, it goes for years. They love epoxy in Europe. But the reason they also do it is because it's on concrete. How would it work on wood systems? And also with that, a lot of people, I did talk to people, to one contractor that pretty much said the epoxy going to help your floor be stronger. I do not look at epoxy as a structural component, but is it true? Tell me what you think about that.
So to answer it directly, I would say the coating is only as strong as the substrate it's on.
Exactly.
Whereas it's not, it's going to add to the top of it. So say there was like a loose tile, it might strengthen it a little bit. But at the end of the day, the tile underneath is still loose.
Oh, you put it on top of tiles, on top of an existing flooring as well.
We've done a lot of those over tile now. So, and then something else, another new...
Yeah, why not?
Some more technology into the industry. We used to grind. We'd go in someone's kitchen and we'd have to hand grind because we don't want to put a big, heavy grinder, 600-pound grinder on their tiles, the risk of cracking it, especially when they're all bonded well.
It's all shaken. And
so what we would do up until a few years ago, we'd go in with our hand grinders on our hands and knees, and we got to remove the glaze off of it, and you still have your grout marks.
To get a better bond.
Exactly. So then you'd do a flood coat. Now there's a new product by Primera. It's a fusion bond primer. This stuff is amazing. It's crazy technology. It's like magic. You can put this stuff on, you spray it, you wait 20 minutes for it to tack up, and then you have a 1-hour window to install your product, and it will bond anything to anything almost.
Oh, it's like glue basically between the
similar. It's like your primer. It's like a great primer that's allowing different things to bond that normally would never have bonded.
Wow,
so I've actually seen people put epoxy on glass as a demonstration to show.
Really?
Yes, and you can't peel it off. You can do a pull test on it. It's unbelievable.
What's the product's name again?
It's Primera is the company that makes it. It's Fusion Bond Primer.
Fusion Bond Primer.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So now when we go into a high-end kitchen, 2-year-old house, and they don't want this tile look anymore. Instead of mitigating all this dust, taping off and polying every single thing, because everything we do, we produce dust. I'll go into this too.
Of course.
All of our grinders are attached to a HEPA vacuum. I like to say that we catch 98% of the dust. However, when you've got a garage and we're taking 2 40-pound bags of dust out of that garage, 2% is still a lot of dust.
Yeah.
So with this product, it's very expensive. It's about $400 a gallon. but it allows us to not have to do all the prep work, the labor involved, the tape and the poly and things like that in these high-end homes. And even with that, there's still going to be some dust. We can now go in, do our spray, and have our base coat done in one day, where it would have taken us 6 to 8 hours to get to that same level. And then we should probably wait at least 48 hours to let that dust settle. Because when you're doing a metallic system, cleanliness is next to godliness. Everything is, every hair, you're gonna see it. You're gonna see all the dust particles, things like that. So this is it's another tool in our toolbox that is allowing us to do things much cleaner and faster as well.
Exactly, I think, and being faster means more efficiency, and you can be more competitive.
100%.
Right.
Not only that, we're not in our client's house running grinders for 6 hours. The noise, the smells
that
of
before.
dust.
Oh,
you know, it's a benefit to us. It's a benefit to our clients as well. And that's just like any industry. The technology keeps coming out. New products keep coming out. And I'm a big believer in continually trying and growing and trying new things. And that's how we grow our brand and grow as installers. If you stop learning, you might as well just quit. You know, it's like anything. You can't stop learning in this trade. There's always something new. And that's just one example of it.
So tell me, which areas do you work in? Because you are mainly working in London, Ontario.
So I'm from Kitchener originally, Kitchener-Waterloo region. So I would say most of our work, just due to connections, would be in the Waterloo region. GTA is obviously very busy.
You're willing to expand towards the GTA.
Lots of work here. We go to Muskoka a couple times a year, do a couple cottages up there. We've gone as far as Windsor. So I would say mainly London to the GTA, Guelph, Kitchener, Cambridge, Waterloo would be our bread and butter. But depending on the job, we will go where we're needed. And
Windsor is like what, 3.5 hours from Toronto?
3 hours, 3.5 hours.
3.5. Yeah, we did a warehouse there a long time ago. It's like, oof.
So first thing I ask if somebody says they want something done in Windsor, if it's a 300 square foot garage, I'm gonna refer them to one of my friends. There's, the industry's small, and I don't look at these guys as competition. Everyone, we're all in it together. There's a lot of people like that. Like in any industry, they look at everyone as competition, not us. If a job is worth it for us to go to, we will go to the job. First thing we ask, what's the square footage? What's the job? Does it make sense for us?
Yeah, you're not gonna drive for 3 hours with all your crew and equipment and all that for like a small garage job, like 1-car garage job.
So there's, I have partners again that will give me work in my area and vice versa, and it's a pretty amazing community actually of installers. We're all pretty tight knit, and a lot of these guys, I just met on Instagram, and then we'll go to a course and I get to meet them in person, and it's almost like you've known these guys for years.
Yeah, true.
And you're just meeting in person for the first time. It's kind of cool the way that the networking works and how we all help each other out.
It's funny. I don't know if you know, but in New York there is a district for gold, diamonds, and all that.
Yep.
And they're guys. They're pretty much all of them. What they do when times are tough, they pretty much constantly buy product from each other, buy and sell.
That sounds
and
like...
that's what keeps them, believe it or not, that's what keeps them kind of going. Because listen, not everybody gonna come and buy a $80,000 chain on a daily basis.
Yep.
So what they really do, they buy and sell from each other, and it keeps them kind of going. That's
So it's a Ponzi scheme?
I don't know. It's funny, as it sounds. Yeah. So he gives job to his friends would give him jobs, and eventually he's like, why drive an hour and a half if you can get the same amount of money?
Self-sustaining economy.
Yeah.
Same thing goes with, if we get a big job, we have a 20,000 square foot garage or a warehouse. I have a team of 4 and myself.
So you can get another friend of yours to help you out.
And we do the same thing with them. We call them on. We need your help for this job. Can you help us on X date? And we're all there to help each other out. Like I say, it's a small industry. And
What's the biggest garage you've done? I have to ask him.
Biggest garage, personal garage, around 2,000 square feet.
2,000 square feet.
Nothing.
That's
too,
like how many cars? How many?
10.
10-car garage.
8 or 10.
That's huge.
Probably double. So you're looking at 5 bays.
That's a lot of Toyota Corollas.
Yeah.
5 bays.
That's a lot of Lambos.
Question: how do you know that an epoxy contractor is a good contractor? How would you determine that? Besides the fact when they're a firefighter, you can't argue with that. Clearly, that's somebody who cares about people.
Yeah,
But
that
how
helps.
Do you know, yeah. How do you know that a regular contractor is a good contractor?
Like in any trade, reputation is everything. Maybe check Google reviews. Something we take great pride in is our Google review. We have, I believe, 108.
Oh, wow. When do you have time
Perfect
for
5-star.
that?
to check or to get them?
To get all of those.
After every job or most jobs, everyone says they're going to leave one, but sometimes you got to bug a little bit. So we have a system where we reach out to clients after a job is done. We just ask if everything's been good, please leave us a 5-star or leave us a review. And my whole spiel is if it's anything other than a 5-star, please let me know immediately and we will make sure that it is a 5-star. There's to me, if you get a 4-star review, you dropped the ball somewhere. If they're not giving you a 5-star, what did we do wrong? What did my guy say? Was there a drop of epoxy spilled on your driveway? What was it? How do we make it better? Whether it be money off, coming back to do something over. At the end of the day, if you don't stand behind your work like that, you're not going to continue to grow. And I think that's something that's helped us grow. So I would say, going back to your question, sorry to go on a rant, but it would be ask around. Word of mouth is huge. Reputation.
Of course.
I'd say about half of our jobs come from repeat clients that tell their friends, and then they tell their friends, and they had a good experience. But you treat one person wrong along that line, people will tell 10 more people than they will when you do a good job. They might tell one. When you do a bad job, they're going to tell everybody, and that's any business. You just got to treat people right. You got to stand behind what you offer, and you got to do the right thing no matter what. I've had times where stupid little things come up, and in my head I'm going, oh, really? But I would never say, you don't say that to a client. A client is always right no matter what. So you go back and you'd make it right, and you offer them something to make it worth their while. And at the end of the day, if they're happy, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Question for you. I had a funny story, and I wanted to ask you if you have this kind of funny stories. Because you said 5-star review, and if it's not a 5, if it's a 4, why that is. I had that situation before. I think I was telling it once or twice on the podcast. I had a situation where a client was not happy with me. I came all the way to their house to talk to them what happened, this and that. They're like, well, listen, Max, come check it out. So I go with them to the second floor, and one of my trades, I don't know who did this, they saw a scale, and they went on it wearing their shoes.
Oh my God.
The client was so worried about it, and I'm like, listen, we got 2 options here. Either it's not such a big deal. It happens. When you got like 20, 30 people in your house,
but he was curious.
One of them is going to be stupid.
Yeah.
Overall, I said, is that a problem that they use your scale, or can we use it as a funny joke that happened, or I can get you a new scale? Up to you. Funny story like that. Did you have something like that? Where a client kind of like, I don't know if it's a big deal, but you know what I mean? Something that doesn't really makes you look bad, but it's just funny.
I've had little things happen where somebody, gets a drop of epoxy on something like the apron, and they didn't tape off. I like to have a really big area to work in. I can't think of anything offhand that was a funny thing, but maybe people using their bathroom or something. I don't know. I always say to people, my guys, unless you have to really go, don't go in the client's house. We're covered in dust.
True.
People don't like that either, right? But I can't think of anything offhand of a funny story that I try to not have those stories happen, but that's harmless. Everyone wants to see what they weigh. They're on a cut, maybe they gotta check.
I thought you were gonna say he broke the scale.
He didn't even, but that was so funny. It's like they felt that they need to have me there to show me that, to kind of take my head and be like, look at what your people
It was probably
did.
like eating away at them that something happened and they have to
Listen, maybe I would be upset, but not to that point.
Can I ask a question related to what you asked before? So, maybe a good way to phrase it would be, what are some green flags or red flags if I hire an epoxy guy? When they're working, what can I notice that is red flag, or maybe the opposite, the green flag, you know what I mean? So
that's a great question. So I would say ask for pictures of their work. If you really aren't sure about somebody, ask them for references. I've had clients say, I would like references, and I call my last couple jobs. Do you mind giving so-and-so, if I give your number to so-and-so, well, do you mind if they give you a quick call and talk about your experience? And most times people are happy to do so, especially when they've had a great experience and you've went above and beyond. Some red flags would be guys that say in their Instagram bio or something, certified by whatever. That just means they did a weekend course.
I know.
And
I hate that. I hate that. And they make it as if it's something big.
they have this certificate. If they're bringing that certificate saying I got trained by so and so, that's
Like, you know that WSAB test that you do on your computer
Anybody
for
can
like
do
5
it.
minutes?
and nobody fails these courses. You could be the biggest idiot.
just
You're
pay
still,
money
as long as you paid, you're gonna get this piece of paper. You're certified from this installer who
100%.
like it's like anything. You have to learn in the real world. If you think someone's gonna be learning how to do epoxy on your floor, that's a red flag, right? Like we still come across things we haven't done or certain jobs maybe, but you have to be honest about that stuff, right? You don't just pretend like you can do all this and then like it comes down to it and you're YouTube, how to epoxy a floor. Like that's a major red flag.
Wow, that happened to me once. That's like, get out of here.
I mean, you might YouTube some stuff, but if you're YouTubing how to epoxy a floor, that's you stepped into the wrong situation.
Yeah, I think asking questions is gonna the green flag contractor, it's like any trade, it's gonna show. And the more questions you ask, and do your research as a homeowner and as a client, a business owner, whatever it may be, look into the industry and kind of educate yourself, and then have a little bank of questions that you'd like to ask this guy, and just the way that they answer, the way they articulate things, the way that are they thinking about making something up on the spot, or are they
Forget about that, or just being irritated by you asking those questions. You gotta realize, okay, you gotta go.
Exactly.
You gotta go. Some people, I had an example. One of my, not my trades, one of my trades brought their person to do tiles. Now, I can say proudly I've done a lot of work in my life. Mm-hmm. One of the first jobs that I've done was tiling. So I know tiles from A to Z. And I remember this guy comes into the house. It was a residential home. And they bring their tools in. And you realize that they're lacking tools for the job that you need to be done. Mm-hmm. And they bring this, mechanical tile cutter and a grinder.
Mickey Mouse.
And and you're like, okay, you're worried right there. And you can't throw them out right away because you're like, then you are the bad guy because you should give them the opportunity to try and do their job. Mm-hmm. But you realize that's going to be a problem. Is there something, when it comes to red flags, is there something you should see? Because I don't know epoxy. I can see a person like you, and I know that, again, I met you today for the first time. I know you're somebody that I can trust, okay? When you're doing your work, you know what you do. You're very clear. You're very sharp. You're somebody who will do your job 100%. But how
can we not trust you?
No, that too. But not only that, like you can see as a GC that works with a lot of trades, mm-hmm. you can see right away if somebody's a person you can work with, or you got to be careful with them. But how do you know when it comes to, I don't know a lot about epoxy. I'm telling you, I had guys that came in, for an example, and we got bubbles on the floor. And they looked maybe not as sharp as you are and knowledgeable as you are when it comes to it. Now I understand that talking to you. But how do you know that somebody, when they start their work, when a homeowner calls an epoxy company in and this truck comes in and somebody comes out of the truck, what should be the things that you should be looking for?
So it's difficult when they're just there with their truck, but I have a bunch of things I could think of when they show up on site. And everyone starts somewhere, right? Like I started with a hand grinder, with a shop vac. But if you're paying top dollar and a guy doesn't have a HEPA vacuum, which is what holds the dust bag and separates it, you don't got to clean the filter out every 5 minutes and there's dust all over your garage.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So maybe this is one thing that people should care about. Pay a little bit more, but get somebody that has all those tools.
Yes.
And ask the guy if they have these tools before they even start the work.
You could ask them what kind of grinder are they using. Do they plan on hand grinding your floor for 2 days for your 400 square foot garage with a 4.5 inch Chinese or Makita hand grinder or something like that? Is that how they're going to plan? And then you don't get it as flat because you can get gouging with it. But little things like that, you could ask them what material they use, how long have they been using it, where the material's made. There's a lot of, even the material that's made in Canada, a lot of the resins do come from China, like the
of course,
the bulk of the material, the raw material. But if they're ordering the finished product from China, that's a bit of a red flag. It's much cheaper, but everything we use is Canadian made. That's one thing.
Cool.
Almost everything. A lot of those nanoceramic top coats, things like that, they're not Canadian, but all the epoxy, all the polyaspartic.
Is that also the difference between epoxy going yellow and not going yellow?
Yeah. All epoxy will go yellow. Even
but
UV
not as
resistant.
fast.
Yes,
Not as fast.
exactly, not as fast. So there's better quality resins and hardeners, and that does make a difference. If guys show up and they're using, this is a joke in the industry, but the spike shoes that we wear, they're called shoe-ins, and we slip them over our shoes, and that's what the good epoxy guys wear. I seen a thing on the internet. It says if a guy comes with these spikes, cancel the job and run. So the ones that strap onto your shoes, those are just kind of like Mickey Mouse. It'd be like I would say it'd be like a tile guy coming with a mechanical tile cutter.
Yeah.
Just the
But it's
tools
true,
just
listen.
don't add up to the price that they maybe charged you. And again, everyone has to learn somewhere. Not everybody has a $4,000 Husqvarna vacuum and $15,000 or $20,000 Husqvarna grinder. Like you work to that level. But that would be a red flag, I would say, for sure. If somebody shows up, or if they're working out of the back of their car.
Yeah.
Again, everyone starts somewhere, and I respect the hustle from anybody. But when we show up and the van's well organized and our trailer's well organized, and you can just see that even with a tile guy. If you see them working out of the back of their car,
Exactly.
they could be the best. And I'm not putting anyone down.
Listen, exactly. I'm also, and I want to emphasize on it as well. I'm not trying to put new contractors down, and I'm sure that there are good contractors like that. But what also people should understand, and especially young aspiring contractors, when you're going into a certain trade, there's a certain amount that you need to invest into getting the tools, into getting. If you can't do that, don't start. Wait for another year.
Yeah.
But when you start, make sure that you're given a good service and good layer of equipment. When I was a trade, I used to have. I was a framer, and many years ago, I used to have a 22 feet trailer. Okay, a lot of guys, windows guys, doors guys, framers would have trailers, but when they opened that trailer, my trailer would have shelves and everything for tools for all my boxes and everything, and my bending machine, the brick would be on a side nicely with all the aluminum under it. Versus a guy opens it and you see all the frames and everything and all the tools just laying on the floor and all that. You got to understand, that's how your frame, that's how your windows, that's how your doors, that's how everything eventually is going to look like. If this guy did not take this one, because it took me one weekend, did not take this one weekend to prepare his tools and to have everything intact, that's how they're going to do your job on a fly.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to put anybody down, and you as well, but I do care about a contractor that comes in and they represent their company. They come in, they represent themselves, they represent the company. When they open their car, all the tools are intact. And okay, this is something that has an order in his mind, in his life. That means they're gonna do all this job in order as well.
Yep.
Right?
If you can't do the little things right, how can we trust you to do the big things right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like if you want to see if the house is clean, where are you going to go? Into the bathroom.
Yes, very true.
If the bathroom is clean, the rest of the house is clean as well. So if a contractor comes to you, respectfully to everybody, because my job is to educate homeowners and to get good people in their house. Not if a contractor comes in and they don't have, let's say, the time to take care of their own truck, which is their office, which is their life, which is their house most of the time because they work most of the hours of the day. Problem.
Could be a red flag.
Yeah.
My dad always said, you can tell a lot about a man by the way he keeps his extension cords. It's something so simple, but if you're taking the extra...
And how they collect them, whether you do this or...
Yeah, it takes 10 extra seconds to do it right and just twirl it the right way. When you release it, it comes out perfect. Like, it's something so simple, but it's one of the little things that adds up. All those little things, like in our industry, there's 1,000 little things that add up to a perfect job.
Yeah.
And if you skip half those steps, you may get a half decent floor. It might be 80%, but you're not going to get the 100% floor. And that's
I remember
one little thing.
I remember I was still an apprentice. You reminded me with the extension cords, and my installer is like, Max, go get all the cords and everything, all the tools, start putting it in the truck. So I unplug the cord and I start pretty much getting it all together, right?
Yep.
And he's like, no, you don't do it this way. I'm like, why not? He goes, because this way you're stretching the cord out. You should pretty much collect it like one by one like this.
Yep.
And eventually, and I'm like, wow, that's awesome. Since then, of course, I started doing it this way.
Yep.
But those are just the small little things.
So small.
To care about your tools, to care about everything. Yeah.
You know how many tries it took me to learn this thing of like, and then in the end, I was looking at it in the beginning when somebody showed me like how to do it. You know, like you collect it, and then in the end you do the loop and you do through the thing.
Yeah.
I felt like an idiot. I looked at it and it took me like 20 tries to understand what is going on here.
But now you're a master.
Well, I guess, you know, I'm the only person I know who like does it that way, except for people who work with cords. Nobody else, you know what I mean? Unless you work with cords all the time, you won't.
Yeah. So tell me, are you hands-on in your business or are you an operator?
So I am still hands-on, although I am transitioning to being just the operator.
Mm-hmm.
Good help is hard to find. So to keep the quality at the level that I need it to be at, I do need to be on a lot of the floors. There's different levels of flooring too, like a flake. I don't want to say it's easy, but if you've done 100 flake floors, you should be very proficient and you should be able to get a 99% floor every time. When it comes to things like polyurethane cements or concrete polishing, which is something that we're getting into a lot now too, or metallic, things like that, it does take years to hone in and master those skills. So on those types of jobs, I'll always be present on those jobs. I try to at least be at every job site to at least oversee things and not being, you know, breathing down guys' necks. So what are you pointing out? What are you doing? But I like to kind of lead by example. So if I notice something, maybe someone's doing something the way that I don't do it, maybe I'll show them, get on my hands and knees and show them how I grind corners or, you know, and those are the things that when you go the extra mile, you're a representation of you, who you are in your company, and those people see that, and then they're gonna do the same.
Of course, and also the homeowners seeing you caring about it that much, they can just leave. They know that the project is in good hands.
Yes.
But also, how do you balance the business part and the hands-on part? Because I find that a lot of trades have the issue of, my trade specifically, you got to run after them sometimes to get a quote because they're pretty much busy on site 24/7 and they're not able to balance the business part with the hands-on. So how do you balance it? How do you do it? Maybe some trades out there can take.
So we have the same problem. I'll be honest. You know, I have 4 quotes to do this week. I prioritize those. You know, you have to prioritize it all, but you can't leave people on red, and you can't. Answering the phone is one of the biggest parts of business. It sounds so stupid, but the amount of guys that are too busy to answer the phone, now you have a bad reputation or a bad look from before you even met the client.
Yeah.
So you have to focus on you know, getting quotes off in a timely manner, still ensuring that things are going well. You need the main thing is you need systems in place. When a quote comes in, I want to have or an email comes in, within 24 hours, we have to reply to that person.
Of course.
We have to make sure that we address it, get the info, ask for some pictures. And I used to run around all over Ontario before I met people to give them a quote and things. So I've kind of learned there's a lot of tire kickers out there. So the first thing when, you know, I'll give you an example. So we get an inquiry from the website. It comes in. I'm not going to say, okay, I'll be there this week to go see it. I'm going to feel them out through a couple simple questions. What's the project? What's the size? Where is it located? And do you know what kind of flooring system you would like? And do you mind sending us a few pictures? From that point, if they don't even reply to that, they're wasting everyone's time. Most times people reply, they'll send some pictures. The odd time people aren't technologically advanced, they can't send pictures. I'll still go out and take that person seriously, but if they can't even reply in a timely manner, then I know maybe they're not our client. Not everyone is your client. From that point, there's no obligation. But then I'll say, you know, if everything looks okay, this is a ballpark quote, usually pretty accurate. I'm able to get it very accurate. Then from that point, I'll go out to the site, meet them. We'll discuss the installation process. I'll bring some different samples with me. I'll show them the textures. We'll talk about options. We'll talk about things like, are we going to put an anti-slip additive in this floor? Are we going to do a double top coat? Are we going to coat the apron, the area outside the garage? Are we going to fill the expansion joints? My recommendation is that we don't. They're there for a reason. I explain that what can happen is it's called ghosting. They can pop up through expansion and contraction of the slab. These are things that are hard to explain over an email. It gets very wordy. So once I know somebody is serious, then I will go out, take our time is all valuable, take my time and go out to these different sites and meet people. I also have a great team. My wife she runs all of our admin stuff.
Oh, amazing. So it's a family business for you.
Yeah, my father is also our foreman. He works for us as well. So when I'm not there, I'm able to trust that no one's going to take care of your business other than you as much as you do. However, your wife and your father, I'm very blessed to have this team with me. And my guys are all incredible too. You know, we're very, very blessed. But yeah, it's just delegating jobs and making sure that people are on quality control. If I'm not on site, ensuring that the job is getting done the same as if I was on site. These guys know they're not bugging me if they have questions. I'm a phone call away. If I have to show up, we're always putting out fires in more ways than one, you know?
But that's every business, I think.
Yeah.
No, but listen, that's amazing. I think you should have mentioned it previously. I didn't know that. So it's a family business, which means there is a lot of liability, not only on your shoulders, everybody care about the business.
100%.
How is it working with family? Not always easy. I worked with my father. My father worked for me for many years before. And how is it working with family and especially with the spouse? Because pretty much you talk business 24/7.
Yeah, it can be a challenge, but I'm incredibly lucky and blessed to have them. Like me and my dad, we butt heads like you wouldn't believe. But it'd be like you work with your best friend, you know? He is my best friend. So it'd be like we're always chirping each other. If I notice he's doing something, I say, he's not scraping the floor hard enough, scrape harder. I go and get him. He's like, oh, do your section. I would do the same thing. Like, you know what I mean? But it's friendly. And at the end of the day, it's like, how lucky am I to be able to, my dad's retired, to still work with him and see him multiple times a week. And we get to drive around.
That's amazing.
It's awesome. I'm so lucky. And with my wife, she handles 90% of the behind the scenes things, you know, the bookkeeping and accounting and stuff that isn't my strengths. Like, again, you have to delegate to people that there is their strengths, you know, and maybe I'm not good at answering an email within 5 hours. So, but as soon as the inquiry comes in, she knows what to say. She asks the right questions. And then from there, she might say, okay, Rob, what system would you recommend this person that I quote? And, you know, based off the square footage, what's the price? Because as the square footage goes up, the price goes down, right? So we have different levels of pricing and things like that. So then we'll kind of work on that together, and then she'll get those off, and she does all those customer relation things. Customers still have my number if they want to talk too. It's not like I'm off limits.
Because technicality is your thing.
Exactly, right? And everyone has their strengths, and that's one of my strengths. And you know, hers is the technological thing, and she does all the updates to the website and things that I don't do.
Stuff like bookkeeping is what grinds a lot of people down. Like,
oh, big time.
There's
communication.
You gotta wear so many hats.
It's very kind of you have to
sit down and you
have to focus on that.
even like social media. Like I'm pretty good at social media, but I don't have all day to spend on it. So my wife says,
second
hey,
job,
this is how I want you to take the video, the before and the after. You start in this part and pan this way, and she turns them into these amazing reels, right? Like I'm lucky. Like we all have our strengths, and
she does all of them.
She does all of them.
Were we talking to you or
to me? But she sees it all. You know, again, it's like having systems in place and delegating where people's strengths are. That's the only way that you can, back to what we were saying, to communicate and stay on top of things. You can't, I wear so many hats, I can't do it all.
Yeah.
So, and that was one of the hardest learning lessons for me, trying to micromanage and have my hand in everything. There's not enough hours in the day. You can't, you know. Some weeks I'm working 80 to 100 hours a week. Yeah. Juggling 2 full-time careers, and it's tough. So
yeah, exactly. You're doing so much. It's crazy.
Yeah, but you got to do what you got to do to give the family the life that they deserve and to make ends meet. And you know, it's not getting easier in this economy, right? So you gotta delegate and use your good help.
You sleep like 4 hours a day. Like is that?
It all depends.
I'll tell you what. I was trying to work with my wife. She told me it's not happening.
That's good.
So it's great. It's great
at least she saw that, right?
Yeah, she's like, no, I'm gonna kill you. I'm so like Like I wouldn't say I'm a micromanager, not at all, zero. I got my own office. Everybody's doing whatever they're doing. But when I'm involved in something, I will, get into the nitty gritty details and everything inside. Another thing that I wanted to say that I admire, because I think that's correct, what you're doing, is the way you filter your clients. And that's actually something we haven't discussed previously, but it's great because I agree a lot of people there are just pretty much for the price. They will get your price in order to get somebody else lower their price and all that. I do believe that I call it a process of initiation is very important.
I like that.
Yeah, what people don't understand that they think they hire you for a job and they interview you for a job. You also interview your clients.
Exactly.
It's very important. You interview your clients, and at the end of the day, you also want to pick your clients. And if somebody is not patient enough to go through this process of initiation and they just want everything fast, that's somebody that will not even give you the opportunity to do your job right sometimes. So
a big lesson I learned was not everybody is your client. I've heard this in business before, but I didn't really understand it until I got deep into the business.
Yeah.
So, I would put out 10 quotes and you only get 7 of them. And I would be like, what happened to the other 3? Was my price too high, whatever? But it's like, no,
you got to
respectfully speaking, maybe they couldn't afford the value that we bring.
The knowledge that you have, the value that you have.
The work we stand behind, the warranty, the quality materials, having good people on site in your multi-million-dollar home, having people you can trust that I can trust, that, you're not going to steal a loonie out of your change thing, like little things like that. That's so important,
Yeah.
People don't understand. You're selling experience. You're not selling only service. And when you're coming to somebody's house, at the end of the day, you got your own overheads and expenses. And yes, to keep everything in order, yes, to keep the best tools, it's a little bit more expensive than the guy that comes with a grinder.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Right? But at the end of the day, you hire a guy that comes with a grinder, there's a great chance that you're going to have to hire the better guy later to fix it.
It happens all the time in our industry.
Not only in your industry. And I stress it out to people that are watching the show and everybody out there, and my clients as well. Like you don't have to hire me, but make sure you hire somebody who knows what they're doing, because eventually it's going to cost you more. I had an administrator, the first administrator of my company many, many years ago, when we just started with everything. I remember a guy called in, and that became a motto of our company, like a thing that I tell to everybody. And they said, what's the difference to do a job with permits and without the permits? So she answered, I was just standing next to her and I asked her to print it out. She said, if you think it's expensive to do a job with permits, wait until you do it without.
I love it.
Right? Because all the issues, everything that starts, all the fixes, cost a lot more later. I had a situation with epoxy, I told you, where I had to fix an epoxy that cost me $19,000. That's where I realized that people that do epoxy, it's not a couple of YouTubers that think that it's a DIY thing.
Yeah.
Yes, you can try and do it on your own without, when you do something small, not something that is important. But yeah, I definitely think that investing money into a better trade, you invest a little bit more, but then you get the warranty, you make sure you have no issues and things like that. What do you think about it?
I 100% agree. I think the saying is very similar. You think it's expensive. You think my price is expensive? Wait till you see the price of hiring the cheap guy.
Yeah.
I always say
the price of the job when you hire a cheap guy.
Do it nice or do it twice. And it's going to cost you a lot more to do it twice, because now you got to pay us to grind off what that guy did. Mm-hmm. Who knows what the base coat they used, if it was properly bonded, what material they used, yada, yada, yada. You could have just used us from the start. We would 100% stand behind our work. Because we stand behind our work, we only use the quality materials, right? You got to use what's the best tools that are at hand and just do it right. And if you stand behind it and you're doing it from the start, you don't even have to worry about warranting things, because they're not going to fail, because you're all within the technical data sheet I was talking about.
Yeah. I actually learned that in a hard way. I remember I renovated a house once, And anyways, to make a long story short, I don't remember for what reason. I think I didn't calculate something right, and I need to do the stair. So anyways, I found somebody to do the stair. Some lady. I like working with women personally, to be honest with you, because I do believe they have a great attention to detail.
100%.
Not to upset all the men out there, but they do have a. So I needed to grind and clean the stair. I thought she's gonna do a great job. Anyway, she comes in the day after to start the job. I leave. I met her. I leave. I come back an hour later, and I'm in shock. All of a sudden, she left. She pretty much left an apprentice to do the job. The whole house is full of wood dust. I'm like holding my head. I'm like, what the hell just happened? I called her. She's like, well, listen, I showed him what to do. He's good enough to. A guy probably that just came off a boat. You know what I mean? And literally couldn't speak any English. I'm like, I told him to stop. He didn't even understand the word stop. And he ruined the stairs because he grinded way too far. And I called her in, and eventually I threw, pretty much an hour later, I threw her out of the house, and I'm like, I don't want to see you again. But this kind of situation, and of course I had to pay. First of all, I called somebody else, paid more.
Yeah.
Now I paid to repair the stairs. Now I had to clean the whole house. Anyways, this is the kind of experience people who hire epoxy professionals don't want to get, I'm assuming, through those stories.
Well, Rob, you mentioned tire kickers. You get tire kickers. I imagine actually in your industry specifically, there are people who see some cool stuff on Instagram, and they're like, oh, I wanna, like, maybe I can do that, and then they wanna. So these are the So it probably happens a lot.
Time.
Yeah.
There's different kind of clients. Like even when you do sponsored ads, you sponsor an ad on Facebook. Mm-hmm. Those people were just doom scrolling. They came across it and they're like, "Oh, let's inquire."
Yeah.
Those inquiries, in my opinion, you might get like 10% of them, and they're not good. They're not the type of clients you want. Whereas I'd rather spend a bit more money on Google. Somebody has actually gone to Google to look for your particular business. They've clicked your website. They've seen the quality work you do. They've probably read your Google reviews. They can appreciate and understand your level of work and expertise. And those are usually your better clients, or like we said before, referrals.
Yeah.
Somebody that's serious, that knows what you bring to the table, and they see the value in what you offer. And if it's $500 more than the guy from Facebook, they don't care because it's going to be done right, and it's going to save them a lot more than $500.
Just to clean your house is going to cost you $700.
Yes.
Yeah. On Facebook, you have to be more you have to put a lot of thought into the ads to filter out this problem. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're right. Because Facebook also pre-fills all the information. Like when they click on the ad, all their information is like pre-filled.
True.
All they have to do is click a button.
They make it so easy.
It's just so easy. Yeah.
Too easy.
Oh man, I hate it when you press by mistake on an ad,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you get in your chat, how can I help you?
It's,
Yeah.
No,
it's all
don't help
automated.
me.
Yeah, it's all automated.
It was an accident.
So tell me, we talked a little bit about Canadian products.
Yep.
And the difference between Canadian products and other products. Let's dive a little bit deeper into that. Tell me why there's a difference. What's better in the Canadian products? What's better to buy with the Canadian suppliers? And yeah.
So most epoxy products in North America are made in Quebec. So there are U.S. manufacturers. However, the bulk of them are made in Quebec. So we use companies like Lab Surface, Pure Epoxy. Those are kind of your two main ones. And Urico. We use a lot of Urico products. Those are all made in Quebec. The raw materials, like I say, they do come globally, but where the chemist is and where they are actually manufactured and put into containers and labeled and everything is in Canada. You get what you pay for, like anything. You know, these manufacturers stand behind the products that they offer. They offer warranties. They do lab testing. They're random things off the line. Everything gets tested. They're not shorting your pails, things like that. When you're paying $100 a gallon for some of these materials or more, if you're losing 100 milliliters of every bucket, that adds up, right? And it's happened in the industry before, and people get caught. And
What is the raw material? Resin?
Resins, yeah.
Yeah?
Resins, hardeners, and then there's different solvents as well. So like a better polyaspartic will smell less than a cheaper polyaspartic because the solvent is very expensive. So this company might cheap out on the solvent part of it, and then it changes the dry times and it changes the smell. So that's one thing, we always use a low odor polyaspartic because we use it for all of our top coats, unless it's a metallic or something like that.
And where is that important for the client? Just because they don't need, is it unhealthy for them to smell, or
Yes.
expand on it a little bit?
It's for one, it's unhealthy, and if the smell's getting into their house, they have kids and things like that. It's not cool for us to be using a product that smells more than a product that we could have used for an extra $10 a kit to mitigate that, right? We have to wear respirators when we install the polyaspartic products or anything that's urethane based. 90% of the epoxy we use is either VOC free or extremely low VOC now, which is great. So that's the epoxy. But with the top coats,
What does VOC means for those who don't know?
it is it's the amount of fumes that are coming off of
Oh, I see.
the product.
The rate of...
Yeah,
okay.
volatile, organic
Components?
components. I think so. I don't know exactly. You got me on that one.
Okay.
But,
No, it wasn't.
it's
It wasn't a
basically
gotcha.
the-
It's just for people to understand. No. It wasn't.
It's just the amount of smell or how much smell there is that they give it a rating.
Is it only the first couple of days until it cures, basically?
Correct. Yeah.
You see, the reason it's important because, again, if I'm getting two guys to give me a quote, and that's a cheaper quote, I would pick somebody with a healthier, with a product that cures faster and healthier, because I don't want my family to be under.
But this is why you need to do some research, right? Because as a customer, because you wouldn't even know to ask that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And that's amazing. That's why people are gonna watch it and know.
Yeah. It's definitely important for them to do their research and ask the right questions.
these days, it's more like, hey, ChatGPT told me to do this like this.
Although I will say I like ChatGPT because people have been asking, what is the best epoxy contractor near me? And we now come up on ChatGPT.
Amazing.
I've had a couple of these jobs now, and I'm like, wow,
Amazing.
this is amazing.
Yeah.
And
So,
back-
so ChatGPT is good for that, but not more than that.
Exactly.
The amount of mistakes. Oh my God! Listen, building codes wise,
Lots, eh?
it's just scary. It's just scary the amount of mistakes that it makes.
But back to the Canadian product thing too. The most important part of using Canadian products is supporting our economy.
Yeah, true.
Supporting for Canadians, by Canadians. We're Canadian. It's important to use products manufactured in our borders. There are things that they don't make in Canada, like some of these top coats, some of these pigments, things like that. They do come from the States or other countries. We do use those products, but wherever we can, even if it costs us a little bit more, we will buy Canadian because that's something I'm proud of. And I always will even take pictures of our story and put an Instagram story, all of our Made in Canada stickers on our buckets. I take great pride in that and supporting our local economy, which is right now it's important too.
You
But
made me
listen,
think
also
of
let's
the
be realistic with all the stupid tariffs and everything. It just makes sense.
Yeah,
Our days,
100%.
even more.
You reminded me of the Olympics. Now I'm a little sad. Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't a very good game, eh? It was a good game. It just wasn't a good
It
finish.
was a good game, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what should our viewers know and or learn about issues that they should overcome?
Issues in business or
Yeah, well, no, we with epoxy overall, right? I hope not every viewer of ours would want to become an epoxy installer now. But I mean, what should they know overall?
make sure you're hiring somebody that's knowledgeable, experienced. Like you said, do your research, ask the right questions, look into maybe your budget, what system you're looking for, maybe have pictures of the floor that you like, and ask questions about the floor, about the dry time, the smells, all these things. You know, it's important to educate, and it's my job as a contractor to educate these clients as well. And I educate as much as I possibly can, or what I can think of. But if there's something that they can think of that I haven't mentioned, by all means, that's my job to educate them and make sure that they know exactly what they're getting, how they're getting it, when they're getting it, and how long it's going to last. Those are important things to ask.
I just also thought to myself, another important thing, that not every epoxy guy would probably be able to achieve a certain look.
Definitely not.
Because it's all custom. So I also think that for everybody who's listening, you gotta check the portfolio of a person out.
Yeah.
If somebody is doing resinous floors on regular basis or something simple as that, they might not be able to achieve something big, and they might just get the job for the sake of getting the job. That's going to be a problem. So I think a portfolio is very important.
Extremely.
Where can people find your portfolio, and where can people find you?
Instagram, Facebook, Google. Instagram is huge for us, social media.
So what's your Instagram?
At FireEpoxy Inc., as well as we do have TikTok. We don't use it as much, as well as our Facebook and our
You're
website.
too technical for TikTok.
That's a
right?
common. That's a common story. People see TikTok as like we do it, but it's
Yeah.
yeah.
And our website would be www.fireepoxy.ca, I believe.
And another question to you. I don't know if you know, which are, just shout out to 3 companies that you think we should call next for our podcast.
One of them is one of my good friends, Antonio Aquastop, so I won't use him, but he's the reason
We'll bring him back.
I reached
He was
out
awesome.
because I saw him with you guys,
Yeah.
and
Antonio's amazing.
he's a good brother of mine. I would say, do you want epoxy companies or any companies?
No, any companies
Whatever
that you think great contractors that are doing a great job, and you think that they should have the exposure.
So basically, anybody you don't name is not doing a good job.
We're so lucky. We work with so many good contractors. So if anyone I don't mention, I'm just not thinking of you right now. But I'd have
You're
to say
not good enough.
It's like the Oscar. It's like the Oscar speech. You
you
know,
don't use us enough. No.
Yeah.
I would have to say Forward Urban Contracting.
Sorry?
Forward Urban Contracting.
Okay.
His name's Jason Malfara. He does a lot of, they do all kinds of renovation work out of Kitchener area. Hickey Electrical.
Okay.
Friend Mitch, great electrician,
Okay.
funny guy, very knowledgeable. And Coronation Construction out of London. They do a lot of renovations.
Sounds familiar.
I think, I also heard of that.
Sam, great guy, family man, all these guys I mentioned. But I would say those 3 companies, I could see them coming in and sharing some good info. And again, I have more I could think of, but those would be the 3 off the top of my head at this moment. Sorry, guys. Anyone else? But we're so lucky. We work with so many good industry leaders, and we have so many contacts, and we're blessed to work with some of the best in all different trades.
So, Rob, before we're done, anything else you think you want to plug in or talk about or tell our viewers?
I have a weird, relevant question.
Let's hear it.
Are fire department stations epoxy floors?
Some are, yes.
Yeah?
A lot of them are.
That would make sense, right? Yeah.
Maybe a conflict of interest.
Is it?
Where I work, maybe.
The opposite, you will do a great job for.
Yeah. It's great for, drive-through areas, a lot of truck washing, dirt, salt. They take a lot of abuse, right? It has to be non-slip. So again, it's a great way to finish your floors and keep them clean for years to come.
So I'm going to ask again, before we're done, anything else you want to plug, anything else you want to talk about, anything that our viewers should know?
I would say just do your research, like we talked earlier. Hire the right person for anything. If it's especially epoxy, it's something that can go wrong very fast, especially when you're working with fast-drying materials in the summer. We see a lot of things go sideways on people with the humidity and high heat and stuff. And just make sure that you're doing your research, check the Google reviews, talk to the people, ask for referrals. Yeah,
Perfect.
it's important.
All right, Rob, great having you here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. Archie, thank you for being here as well.
Thank you very
It was
much.
great having you. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope that was fun. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, back to work.